This is Creso, and I'm back for part 30 of the Human Journal. This journal, I'm going to talk about my experience visiting here in New York City, walking around and just seeing some friends and some family here, and I just some things hit me here, meaning some stuff I'm starting to realize more and more. Um, Before I say that, I want to talk about when I first got to New York City. Got off the plane, the vibe, the people was different, a little different. That sense that people are a little bit more happier, and and then some stuff I look at TV, look around, advertisement and all that stuff, and I try not to focus on so much of the stuff that I used to watch, like the news so much or the newspaper. But, you still see some glance of some, you see some stuff. You glance around, you look at some stuff, and, I realized that I was talking to a friend of mine about it. I got up from the hotel. I woke up, okay? Yeah, the hotel. I woke up, and something hit me. And just my experience being here in New York City, that there's so much distraction. There's so much distraction. Like, I don't know. It's like, New York City is always top-notch technology and celebrity and all this stuff. There's so much stuff, right? I just feel like it's like a big distraction. And, for me to say that, I have to really look through a lot of stuff. And everybody's hustling, bustling around, getting one place to another place, right? And the city is, it's a mixed crowd, definitely is. Um, I feel, I was just talking to a friend of mine, I feel that if people are a lot more aware about the so-called norm of life. I always talk about certain things, about politics, and I talk about celebrity. I talk about key things that I see the focus level where people at. Now, not everybody really like follow these things, but I look at a lot of stuff, I see people, I don't know, just see people over there. There's some people in New York City, they're in their own world and stuff, but, regardless, I have hope. I have hope. It's not just because of New York City. It's just life, period. But, me walking the streets right now in New York and just seeing everybody's happy. You got some people upset, some people screaming at one another. You got all kinds of stuff. But, I was in Harlem early today, and I was just looking around at people, and I see I see cops around. And I look at people, some people how they act, some people, okay. And I'm just gonna say this as an example. I'm like, man, I always talk about this in my clubs about, people. I feel like people do make the environment. People, they holding on to certain ideas about themselves, okay? And I always talk about this in my chapter, you create your own world. So all the stuff that I see, let's say, over at 125th Street in Harlem, you see certain things, and, certain people, they just going about it a certain paradigm that they feel low about themselves, or whatever the case is, or whatever drama. And then some people just go there to work, find a job, or whatever they have to do, like any other place around the city. But, yeah, I just wanted to say this more and more about distractions. It's like I see advertisement. I know I'm going around here and there, but it's is my first time I'm walking and recording. Normally I drive. When I do my clips, I record, so it's kind of, I might sound a little off, but plus I'm walking by a lot of people. Uh, yeah, it's just that I was telling my friends, like, man, there's so much distractions. Like, man, big focus. I see the highlight, and I was just saying to her, like, if people really open themselves spiritually about what life really is, and I'm talking about just really just understand there's so much more to life. There's so much more to life than what iPhone you're getting, or I see certain things in the city, like like this ridiculous presidential race, and I see that, I walk in the subway, they got the newsstand and stuff like that, and you got the papers and stuff, all that, and I'm like, there's a lot more to life than these things, and these are the very things that I myself follow for a long time, the city's situation in terms of trying to, what are you going to do with the homeless, people that's homeless, what are you going to do with that, all those things, and I'm like, man, I'm like, it's just, and then look around advertisement about celebrities and stuff like that, and, it's just all advertisement and stuff. People just, one person is just all glitzy and all that. And hey, you know what? That's good. That's good the person is all glitzy, but, I feel that everybody deserves that. If people understand who they are and get off of that story that they're nobody and they have to work their way up, everybody deserves great things in his life. But I just feel like the city, for example, I feel like the way it's set up is through belief systems. You got belief systems. You got the wealthy, you got the middle class, you got the poor, right? And it's like, it's like, and what are you doing to change everything up? But I realize that there's certain ideas that's keeping certain things going. Certain neighborhoods look a certain way. I'm like, man, I was telling my friend of mine about Harlem. I said to my friend like a couple of weeks ago, I said, years ago, Magic Johnson, he opened a Starbucks, or he contribute in terms of whatever to the community of Harlem. But I felt like, I told my friend, I said, that's great. And I just want to express this, like, you know what? People can't be sitting around waiting for a celebrity to, or a politician to come there and contribute. I feel like people, they got to know their worth, and they need to build their own community. I'm like, I don't care how many celebrities or politicians do. People have to get up and do it themselves. I mean, if they want to sit there and wait for somebody to come and save them, for example, hey, go right ahead, But, not to knock what Magic Johnson did. That's great. It's just that people need to understand that they're worth. A lot of people, I don't care who they are, everybody's able to contribute into the community. I look around the city and stuff like that, and things seem to be impossible. You got certain stuff, you got people acting a certain way, and then you got cops here in New York City that's so militant that I used to see stuff like that a lot when I used to live here, and cops don't really intimidate me. It's just a paradigm. Cops, it's not just the police. It's just people. People create these paradigms, and look up the word paradigm, everybody. Okay. You got police officers look so militant, try to intimidate people, and you really don't intimidate anybody. And then you got people just doing certain things that attract this particular paradigm, this idea of cops. So, I always talk about different things going hand in hand. Police and people doing certain activities, And I look around again and again, looking around the city. I do a lot of walking around the city, and certain things that align with people that have certain money, and I'm like, you know, this can't stop me from what I envision. You know, I do envision people from all walks of life experiencing their wealth just to expand, just break through the limitations. There's no limits. But yeah, people, I see the looks in people's faces. Even though I see the vibe in New York City a little different, and I still see some people, you know, the energy. It's all about energy now. People just walk around feeling all stressed out and all that, you know, working that little rat race job and stuff like that. And I'm like, people just burning themselves out here and there, you know. New skyscrapers being built. It's like every time I come here and visit, there's always a new skyscraper being built. I was saying I was walking with a friend of mine, a former coworker, but a good friend of mine. We was talking. I told him that, you know, I think New York City needs to expand. And when I mean just expand, really, these skyscrapers ain't doing nothing. New York City needs to expand, you know, because it's the way the city's set up. It's set up that there's no space. But actuality, there's plenty of space. It's just that I feel like the entire city needs to be remodeled. I talked about something like this in my community clip, you know, and how we could reshape our communities. I talked about something like that there. So anyway, yeah, you know, I just feel like it's like all these buildings all together and stuff like that. And people just, you know, just walking around all stressed out. I'm like, it's not good. It's not good for it's too crowded here. It just needs to, a lot of stuff needs to be remodeled, and I really strongly feel that way. And to do that, you have to remove politics. You really got to remove the idea of government off the face of the map in order to change everything. But it all goes back to people. Like I look at Harlem, I look Harlem, like anything else in life, everything is changeable. You know, I see somebody that look like they ain't all there, right? There was a guy who was cursing out a bus, not the bus driver, but the bus. He just stops, he stands right in front of the bus and he's spitting at the bus. And I was watching that from the distance. And I'm like, you know, this person definitely could be, how I put it, whatever's going on in this person's mind, it could be sorted out. And the only thing I look at it is DMT. Yep, DMT experience definitely can help somebody have somewhat of a psychological issue. These stupid little chemical drugs that the FDA approves doesn't really do anything. You got a lot of people that's in these psychotic places, and then when the city runs out of money, right? A lot of people that seem to be in certain situations emotionally, they're on the street doing all kinds of things. But, you know, these people, you know, they're like anybody else. They could be helped. Their lives could be turned around. The system, you know, the system that we put together, it ain't doing anything. It's not. It's just preserving the same thing. Politics. Big time. It's preserving the same thing. So I'm sorry I'm dancing around this journal. Again, keep in mind I'm walking, I'm recording, so it's kind of doing my best to focus, but just do my best to keep this real. The system that we put together preserve the same thing. You got people on welfare, you got people feel like they can't do nothing with their lives because they're relying on their government handout. You got some people, they're emotionally depressed. You got all kinds of situations. You got people, you know, people are happy. There are people happy, you know, and that's good. I want to see more of that. I do envision that. Yes. And I was taking a cab actually yesterday. I wanted to forgot to share. I forgot to add this. I was taking a cab yesterday, and this cab driver, he decided to open himself up to me. He said he was expressing his frustration that he got 3 tickets, I think, by the same police. They was very angry at him. I asked him why, what happened, and he was telling me that they told him that I passed through a red light, and he didn't. He passed through a yellow light. So I told him, so I said to him, I said, I said, look, I understand. I told him I understand how you feel. The police system in this city is very corrupt. I mean, everybody. I've been in the city long enough, and I see the city of New York hustling just to make money. A lot of people know that, but a lot of people feel like they have to put up with it. Me personally, I'm all about changing things up from the ground up. Excuse me. I'm all about changing things from the ground up. Just shutting the whole system down. So to go back where I was listening to this cab driver, he was expressing himself how he doesn't know what to do. I'm like, wow. There's a reason why I got on that cab and I ran into this guy. There's a reason. And I told him that, don't worry about it. I told him, don't worry about it. He said he has no problem paying the ticket. The problem he's feeling like is that they're going to put points in his license. And then he said to me that, if I'm going to look for a job, what I'm going to do? He said they're going to take the police word over me. And that's what he said. The court is going to listen. They're going to take the police word over him. So I told him, I said, look, I said to him, don't worry about it. Don't even worry about paying a ticket. If you don't want to pay, don't pay it. But I told him this. I said, look, by you worrying, okay, by you sitting there worrying, it's not going to help you. I told him this, and I told him with confidence, you have to believe that things are going to work out for you. And he looked at me as he stopped, when he stopped driving. He said, yeah. He said, you're right. He said, thank you. I said, don't worry about it. And there's a reason why I ran into him. And I really feel for him. But I don't want to take pity on him in a sense, because I know he's capable of creating the world that he wants. It's just that his emotions got the best of him. He's feeling frustrated. And I understand where he's coming from. I look at this way, everybody. When I was thinking about that, when I got off the cab, I said, people really, and this is the thing, this does take courage on everybody's part. This does take courage that, no, you don't have to go through this. And basically being fearless. I really feel like a lot of people for their own self, a lot of people need to shut down the system, big time. People do know that the system's only interested in getting money from people. People know that, right? And it's like, the police, how the police works is basically through taxpayers' dollars. So if people don't pay the taxes, how the police won't be able to fund themselves. You understand? And I don't want to just talk about the idea of police, but this is just one part. The police is just an idea. I don't care who works in that profession. It's the police, the idea, that's all it is. It's just an idea. People understand that if they're able, that they know that they can work well together and letting go of old story that's not helping them, okay? And you don't like the system, okay? Yes, you could do something about it. I feel in my heart that a lot of people don't like the system, but it's the mentality a lot of people feel like, well, what could we do? What we're going to do? So a lot of people will feel like they can't do anything, right? Their words is not valid. So what happened is that you feel like, oh, you're stuck. There's nothing you can do. I mean, who are you to change these things? And that's a good number of people's mentality. And also, people are afraid. People are afraid to really take charge of this system because we know we all created the system. I don't care what city you live. But if you know the city is corrupt with these ideas, and keep in mind, like I told you, the reason why the city is doing certain things because of lack of money. So when you have a mentality that if you have a lack of money, you're going to do certain things. You're going to hustle. You're going to do all kinds of things because there's an idea of a lack of money. But keep in mind, it's nothing about safety here. The real campaign behind about police ticketing and all that other stuff, it's basically about money, and we all know that. So if you want to close down a police station, for example, right? Don't pay your taxes. That's the thing. I really feel like a lot of people do this collectively, not pay the taxes, right? For example, and you shut down the police. This is a good start. This is a start where people will become more mature. People will feel like to me, the idea of police and government is like it's like a baby's crib, okay? Or a little, that little cage that you put a baby in, right? I forgot what they call that. That little, I forgot. It's like a thing where you put your baby, that way they don't go nowhere. It's like a damn prison. It's not a prison, but if you could visualize what I'm talking about. See, the government and police and these things just protect this entire system itself. It's like training wheels for people. And when people really wake up and mature who they are, they'll definitely drop these ideas. There's a lot of distraction here, and we know we all create distractions for ourselves. Celebrity, we look up to certain people, and certain people look like they got it all, and you don't have it all. That's the idea. I always talk about that in some of my clips. But everything starts from the mind. Once you let go and change your mind in a particular way in your mentality, you will definitely see that you could do or align yourself to a life that you like. And I see that this takes a lot of courage on a lot of our part to do this. Everything's possible. Everything's possible. I just know it. I just want to say to everybody, all of you are the face of change. I definitely have hope. I have hope that everything's changeable because life is infinite. I don't want to. I mean, I could talk about these things all day, but I just want to say the real thing about behind all this is people. People understand their power from within. They won't be complaining about the system that's trying to get money from them. They won't. People won't be aligning themselves into a situation that, in a way, they're not happy. People will know their power, and they will align themselves where they want to be. And that's just the truth, This idea of poor, middle class, wealthy, I do envision people wealthy. It's not just because of the money. It's just that it's the feeling more. It's more about the feeling, okay? Yes, we all want money. Yes, there's nothing wrong with money now. That's just what I believe. But it's the feeling, It's abundance is not all about money. It's about how you could live your life however you want to live. And that's abundance. People stop judging one another and stop acting like you're better than the next person, because you're not better than the next person. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're green. I don't care what flag you wave. I don't care if you speak a particular language better than the next person. You ain't better than nobody. Like here, again, New York City, for example, is a melting pot. But growing up here, what amazes me is that the city of New York is very segregated. And it's all due to belief systems that's been passed on from upbringing and other stuff. But, again, all this stuff, all these things, I mean, I could sit here and get frustrated, but I'm not. I just have hope. And why you think I'm doing my clips, And, we are the face of change. Again, you want to You want to change your community, you want to change your life, everything starts from you. I always say that. I'll never stop saying that. It all comes down to you. Each and every one of you are like, you are the focal point of your life, okay? But, just don't get caught up what the next person is doing. Oh, how come he has that or she has that? Don't worry about that. Just create your own world. There's enough space for everybody. Even though the city of New York may seem like there's no damn space, but actuality there is space. You gotta create your own world, everyone. You know, you're not don't place yourself as a victim. Again, I want to talk about the system. You want to change the system? There's certain ways going about it. And I'm talking about going about it in a smart way. Doing certain things like creating riots and looting and all that other stuff, that ain't going to do anything. You know that. So if you want to remove the service, just don't pay it. Just don't pay taxes. People collectively not pay taxes. I love the idea of people creating a new money system. I'm going to keep talking about that. Create a new money system. You don't have to put up with different things. And you have to take the responsibility that you create limits, okay? We all create limits. You could create things that's not limited. Okay, life is limitless. So create a new money system. Shucks. Everybody get together like a mass movement. Create a new money system worldwide. Okay? Eliminating the idea of taxes and paying things out of obligation. There is no paying things out of obligation because there's enough money to go around. It's not about who has more power, than the next person. It's not about that anymore. That's why I'm going to keep talking about that. I'll never get bored saying it. I'll just keep saying it because, you see, by me sharing these things, I feel good about it. I really do. I really do. Nothing has any power over me. I'm going to express these things to everybody. Everybody that's at a point willing to wake up, okay? I don't get caught up with these politicians going for this presidential race so much. I don't care. Sometimes I find it hilarious, but I know people, I'm well aware people feel like this is the only alternative is to vote for these politicians. But then I go online, I look at the message boards and people feel like it's like there's nobody to choose from or we're getting the same old. I'm like, you feel that way, right? You're getting the same old. Well, everyone. You're going to have to get off your butt, right? Work well together and create a community. Well, create a better life for yourself. And we all creating a better community, all right? The responsibility is yours, not some politician who you're going to vote for, I know, again, I'm looking at this more and more. That's what I was telling this with my friend of mine, that I'm seeing things with more clarity. Yeah, a lot of this, it is an experience, but I feel like a lot of it has a lot to do because we're lazy. We're lazy and we're scared. So we're going to rely on one person to do all these things that we could do ourselves. But we'll blame that person when the person doesn't follow through or if the person gives you lip service, right? And this is a cycle that we create, right? But I always say that we do have the answers. It's about what you're gonna do with it. What are we gonna do about it? You could, and it doesn't have to be a campaign about people being in the street. It doesn't have to be a long drawn campaign. That could be solved now. The idea of people starvation, that campaign could end now. I look at this thing about cancer cure. There's a cure for cancer now. Okay, if you're gonna rely on your scientists and your FDA and the department of the FDA, you're gonna be fighting for the cure every year to year. But there is a cure for cancer. There is. If you're open to it, if you believe it, there is a cure for cancer. Well, I know. A lot of us, we all play this game that there's no cure. You have to constantly fight for things all the time. That's an experience. I understand that. I played that game one time, but I felt like I said to myself, I see things more beyond that, and that's why I do my clips. But there's a lot, but I see a lot of this stuff as a distraction because life is, I'm telling you, life is wonderful. Life is really wonderful. I mean, there's so much layers of life. There's so much possibilities to everything, to everything. And I'm going to continue sharing more and more. I'm going to continue sharing more and more to everybody, but I do take the privilege. It's a privilege, or like I say, it's an honor for me to do my clips, to share with everybody, for those that's at a point of waking up. So, yeah, nobody's better than you, okay? Nobody. I don't care how much money they got. I don't care if they live in the Upper East Side or the Upper West Side or downtown Manhattan or wherever they live. I don't care who you are, where you're from. Nobody's better than nobody. Nobody's below than anybody, okay? We got to put our ego aside, everyone, okay? All right? And I love to see New York City, for example, expand. Just expand. Not focus so much on the skyscrapers, but just expand it. Because there's no limits to life. We only create limits because of our own ego. We create limits because we are afraid. But it's a decision making. I think that's all for now on this clip. This clip was a little different than my previous clips, but I really had to express this. I'm seeing things more and more clarity that a lot of stuff there's a lot of distraction, but the distraction is that we put the distraction on ourselves. We are power to actually break out of the distraction. We are power. It's just that what you gonna do? What's your next move? You're gonna constantly be distracted. What iPhone you gonna get? Or who's dating who at the Inquirer magazine or whatever magazine or the internet? Or a sports athlete making all that money? Or so-and-so going for president? I mean, life is much more than that. It is. It really is. So I know deep down inside, you all know this. You all know what I'm talking about. All right, everyone. That's it for now. I will be back for Chapter 31. Take care.